guys?
Hey, how you doing?
Hi there, how are you?
Hello.
Super slow. How
Welcome.
are you all doing?
Great.
Doing great. What's
up,
happening?
Can you say your names for the tape so we can distinguish?
Yes, Michael
later on?
Giacchino, Giacchino.
And I'm Derek Thompson, head of story.
Oh, yeah, I write music.
I didn't know if you wanted our credential.
Forgot that.
Yes, we need to
It
helps because otherwise.
I write music. All right.
You got the T-shirt for the dinosaur.
This is actually an early version of the logo that we changed slightly. This was a B and an S, and we shifted it slightly.
Oh,
so,
B.
yeah, for the battle sores.
Right.
So this is actually already a collector's item, and we're not even at the finish
Very
line
nice.
yet.
Be careful.
Fantastic.
Someone's going to steal it.
Yeah, I know.
Throw him down and rip his shirt off. Take it.
It will.
That's what he was hoping would happen anyway.
It helps
Consider
me.
done. I'll take care of
It
that.
helps me prepare for battle when the call of the Dream Elders.
You've got to be ready.
All right.
Yeah.
So what can we expect to see from the show coming up?
Well, I mean, I don't know if you were at the panel or not or something like that, but
Stuck in
I'll
here.
let you speak the story.
Okay, well, what you're going to see is an adventure where our Toy Story characters go to a friend of Bonnie's house on a play date, and Trixie, Rex, Woody, Buzz, and the Angel Kitty, who's a Christmas ornament, have an unexpected adventure in a complete set of a super adventure genre, sci-fi, fantasy, dinosaur, barbarian playset called the Battlesaurs. And it's a complete immersion into the world of the Battlesaurs, who are delusional, and it's up to Trixie to help rescue the gang. She's longing to be played with like a dinosaur. She lives in a house with a very improvisational child, and she gets to be everything but a dinosaur, and finally her fulfillment of wanting to be a dinosaur happens with the Battlesaurs, but it comes with great cost. Yeah, so that's the gist of it.
That's cool. Derek, so I was just going to ask, like, in terms of playing in the Toy Story story world,
Yes.
how do you make sure that it's consistent with kind of like what's come before it? Because obviously there's the Toy Story universe has its own rules, and so as a writer, how do you kind of make sure that's...
Well, it's a constant conversation. We certainly watched every piece of Toy Story 1, 2, 3, all the shorts, and we're always looking for clues and insights into the rules of the world. At Pixar, the rules are evolving and shifting from time to time too, so there would be little hiccups or things we would discover in our study. So John and Andrew in the Brain Trust were always really good at helping us, Lee Unkrich and Pete Doctor as well. We're always really good at guiding us towards if we'd stray too far, or and sometimes it would come down to subtle things like, does Buzz Lightyear actually speak like a spaceman, or does he speak like a toy who was built to be a spaceman? And we actually really examined a lot about toy identity in the show, and with Trixie especially, like, I'm built to be a dinosaur, but it's more important for my kid to play with me in whatever way she wants, but it's about that notion of identity, like, who are we? Are we who we are built to be, or are we what our child gives to us? So that was a really fascinating aspect to explore.
Yeah, that's cool. And there's callbacks as well to other films.
About all.
Who came up with the general idea for a dinosaur Toy Story?
There was an iteration of this as a short that Steve had been working on. There was going to be a 6-minute short. We had a shorts group doing tunes for a while, and then John loved the world so much that it was expanded. I don't know if there was any point earlier than the original Toy Story where somebody decided to add dinosaur toys, because Rex was a dinosaur toy from day one, and there's been a love and a passion for dinosaurs and dinosaur toys since day one, so we're just expanding on it.
And Michael, can you talk about the music? What influenced?
Well, I mean, we were talking. I just finished Planet of the Apes, which came out. So we were talking about, a lot of the influences that have come from that world are fun sort of things to to pepper into what we're doing here, because they're entering this whole primitive universe. And what I like about it is that it's not, normally in the Toy Story films, they're still within their world, but this is a film where the characters get to go into somebody else's universe. So we're really engulfed in the whole, the whole Battlesaurs world. So I'm going to just go and have fun with that. and just make it a
Michael,
crazy-
when you were working on the Toy Story Terror, did you go into that genre language of music?
Oh,
or was it
totally.
more
Yes.
of-
No, in Toy Story of Terror, it's the same thing. You know, you end up in this whole world where we were basically scoring a horror film.
Yeah.
You know, and just play it straight. Not make it funny. Just play it straight. Let them be funny.
To Michael's point, this notion of genre immersion has been high on the priority list for us for years. Really wanting to feel like the language of filmmaking, the camera, the lighting would shift as our toys went on this adventure, and that as you're watching it, you forget that you are in a toy room and it becomes this kind of journey to a prehistoric planet. So we really paid a lot of attention to getting that feeling right. And John Lasseter was incredibly supportive and wanted us to push it even more and just swing for the fences.
What about the advancement of technology from the original Toy Story? Because when you're watching, you can tell there's been an improvement
Sure.
in computer systems and animation.
Sure.
So I mean, do you keep it consistent with like the original stuff, or do you make tweaks to?
Well, the Toy Story computer models have been rebuilt a number of times. Currently at Pixar, our proprietary system, Presto, had only converted 1 or 2 characters from Toy Story of Terror into the new system, so a number of our characters had to be rebuilt so that they could exist in this new system. But yeah, it's nice that the technology is there for it to look as great as possible. We want it feature quality.
But I think the nice thing about it, you don't see vast differences in the designs of the characters. You know, you might see differences in lighting and differences in how shading goes and textures and all of that. But the essential shape and designs remain, which is a nice, you get the benefit of the technology without losing the characters that were just built over the last few years. Last how many years?
What about in music technology? Does your thinking when you compose shift with the technological tools at your disposal?
No, not really. I mean, the computer essentially replaces the paper. You still sit before a live orchestra, These are real people playing real instruments. So that hasn't changed, and I hope it never does, because that is the most fun thing about it. To sit in front of like 100 players and let them do their thing. It's pretty amazing.
And it is a full orchestra for this?
Yeah, we're going to have a full orchestra for this. Yep. We haven't decided on the size yet, but it'll definitely be. We always do. I mean, it's always, with the shorts, whether it's a shorts or whether it's a feature, we're always making sure that's the full orchestra.
How long does it take you to create the music for that's not a short?
Well, you could say when I did The Incredibles, it was probably, total time. It depends. Animated, you get a little bit longer because of their schedule. It takes them longer to do it, so you can kind of come in and out. Live action thing, like apes, you might get 8 weeks. 8 weeks to write and then record it.
Good heavens.
This I'll probably write this in about a week.
It's a short.
How hands-on is John Lasseter in that process for you?
It's generally me and the director. I'm very close. I work with the director on this, and it's we make all of the calls as far as that goes. I'm sure if he sees it and goes, I don't like that we'll hear about it. But they like the relationship to be between the composer and the director, because that's a really sort of a fragile line you got to hold. If I do something one way and Steve wants something a different way, it's going to make the audience think something that we don't want them thinking. So we have to be on the same page the entire time. It goes back to Brad Bird. When he hired me for The Incredibles, he said to me, he goes, listen, your music can really ruin my movie. And I was like, great, thank you. And what he meant was we just need to be on the same page all the time. So it's important.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.